came up with the idea, and I've always done this, but not on an industrial scale. I've always made Native American drums since I was in junior high school. I had a fascination with drums. So as I started to develop the skill, I started making drums. And what I did is I started making hide drums out of buffalo hides, elk hides, deer hides, steer hides. And as it happens, I started buying the hides myself, some finished, some not. Some I had to, what they call tan, scrape off all the fat and stuff and make these drums. Well, last count I've made 750 drums. And I stopped counting, I stopped taking pictures of them. I still do it to this day. Right now I'm working on 2 drums at home. Why is that important? Because Native American drums to Native Americans are like the Bible. You give somebody a Bible to pray, and it changes their life. And I'm not trying to tell you anything religious. What I'm saying is you got to give them something to have a moral compass. When I started making drums, I saw that people were singing on the drums, which is in our culture means that they're praying on the drums, and most of them are prayers on the drums. So I started making drums, and all of a sudden, over time, people started coming to me, and they would call me drum maker. They didn't even know what I do for a living. I don't go out there and tell people what I do for a living. I'd start making drums, and as I said, I've made over 750 big drums, and I've gifted them all away, and I work on them almost 24/7. I get up in the mornings early, and I work on the drums. I go to work, come home, I work on the drums. On the weekends, I work on the drums. And between there, we do social things, my wife and I. But I really have this direction of making drums, and I don't know what compels me to do it, but I do it. But there's nothing more satisfying than to see a group of poor Indians who couldn't otherwise buy a drum. They cost anywhere from $500 to $1,000. There's nothing more satisfying to me than to sit down with the drum group or to see them drumming and singing and seeing how they're changing their lives. Right now, and I just want to introduce Mr. Craig Stone here. Mr. Stone has done a lot to teach me how to, and his wife too, have been real supportive about teaching me how to sing in the Lakota language and stuff. And it's opened a whole lot of doors for me that I really appreciate for. But I sing on drums, and he's also on the board for Changing Spirits, which is a Native American recovery center. And he and I go over to Changing Spirits, and sometimes we meet in locations, and we sing with them. And we try to get these guys, and I'll say guys right now, to change, to become spiritual, to change their lives, and to try to heal themselves. And they've been very successful. We have been very successful. So it's nothing. They sing on a drum that I made for them. And so I take double pride in that. And there's other recovery groups. I used to go into the youth authority even as a judge, and I made the drums in the youth authority, and I used to go in there, and we used to have ceremonies in there, sweats and ceremonies, and used to sing with them, and I made them a drum. And so these are kinds of things I do on my own. The way you got to give back to the day you die. You got to give back. And so you do it without wanting your name in print. You do it without asking for somebody to acknowledge it. You do it because it's the right thing to do, right? And I'm not here trying to toot my horn. I'm trying to tell you that it's very important to give back. The same spirit in the struggle of the civil rights, I'm able to channel that in making drums. I have a photograph here. Yeah. This is a drum I made. Of course, this is Craig Stone. Laura took the picture. This is a drum. It's a 40-inch drum that was made with a buffalo hide. Yes, that is Dennis Banks there. And Dennis Banks, who I knew from the time he was at the, they used to have an office. They had an office in the Crusade for Justice. A lot of people don't know that, but they were active with the Chicano movement at the time. And I met Dennis back at that time. And then Dennis had asked me to make him a drum. And if you remember, about 4 or 5 years ago, there were shootings on Red Lake Reservation. Suicides. And so I went out and I got the hide. It took a long time, but I made the frame on the drum. I made the drum for him. And then I had it for about a year, and I was waiting to hook up with him to give him the drum. And finally I was able to hook up at Craig's house one night. This is our drum practice we were having with a drum group we used to have. And we still sing. Craig and I still sing together. And so in this, I made the drum for Dennis, and he took it back with him to Red Lake. And then he ended up giving it away. which is probably the greatest honor I could have, because he gave it away to the guys that were incarcerated at Red Lake Reservation. And then he called back and said, would you make me another one? I said, sure, absolutely. I only have one condition with my drums. You're not going to sell it. If you give it away, it honors me, because you're giving it to a group that needs it. A group of people that need it. They're going to need to pray on it. And so I'll just make you another one. So I was in the process. So better than that, he had come out and stayed with me for a couple of days last year. And we made some drums together, and I showed him how to bend wood and things that I've learned and taught myself over time. And locally, fortunately, sometimes you can go to these powwows, local powwows, and you'll see at least 1 or 2 or 3 drums that I've made for those groups. But it's incredible. Like my children, I see these drums and these vessels of prayer, and it just incredibly moves me. But this is what I've got to do, because this is the way, as a judge, I can't get involved in the community. Now, we got a lot to talk about. We don't want to belabor you at that time. If you have questions, we're going to open it up to questions. And then if you want to, I think you're going to have the special opportunity that we can walk around and explain these photos to you and put them in perspective of the time. Probably not all of them, but we'll try to put them in perspective and tell you what was happening at the time. Adam?